She is at home.
She is at home.
We meet at the station.
We meet at the station.
He is at work.
He is at work.
They are at the cinema.
They are at the cinema.
The meeting is at 10 a.m.
The meeting is at 10 a.m.
She stands at the window.
She stands at the window.
He waits at the door.
He waits at the door.
We are at the table.
We are at the table.
The teacher is at the board.
The teacher is at the board.
She smiles at him.
She smiles at him.
The book is on the table.
The book is on the table.
She sits on the chair.
She sits on the chair.
The cat sleeps on the bed.
The cat sleeps on the bed.
He writes on the paper.
He writes on the paper.
The vase is on the shelf.
The vase is on the shelf.
The kids play on the floor.
The kids play on the floor.
He stands on the stage.
He stands on the stage.
The dog is in the garden.
The dog is in the garden.
She lives in London.
She lives in London.
We are in the car.
We are in the car.
He works in a bank.
He works in a bank.
The apples are in the basket.
The apples are in the basket.
She sits in the chair.
She sits in the chair.
The book is in my bag.
The book is in my bag.
They swim in the lake.
They swim in the lake.
He is in trouble.
He is in trouble.
The key is in the door.
The key is in the door.
She sits next to me.
She sits next to me.
The lamp is next to the sofa.
The lamp is next to the sofa.
He parks next to the blue car.
He parks next to the blue car.
The school is next to the library.
The school is next to the library.
The dog lies next to the fireplace.
The dog lies next to the fireplace.
She stands next to her mother.
She stands next to her mother.
The restaurant is next to the bank.
The restaurant is next to the bank.
He puts his bag next to the door.
He puts his bag next to the door.
The pen is next to the notebook.
The pen is next to the notebook.
They walk next to each other.
They walk next to each other.
She goes with her friend.
She goes with her friend.
He writes with a pen.
He writes with a pen.
They come with us.
They come with us.
She cooks with olive oil.
She cooks with olive oil.
He plays with the children.
He plays with the children.
I agree with you.
I agree with you.
She talks with her teacher.
She talks with her teacher.
He travels with his family.
He travels with his family.
She cuts the bread with a knife.
She cuts the bread with a knife.
They sing with joy.
They sing with joy.
He goes out without a coat.
He goes out without a coat.
She works without a break.
She works without a break.
They leave without saying goodbye.
They leave without saying goodbye.
Coffee without sugar tastes better.
Coffee without sugar tastes bitter.
He reads without glasses.
He reads without glasses.
He eats meat without salt.
He eats meat without salt.
They walk without shoes.
They walk without shoes.
She sings without fear.
She sings without fear.
She brushes her teeth before bed.
She brushes her teeth before bed.
He arrives before me.
He arrives before me.
They eat before the meeting.
They eat before the meeting.
The train leaves before noon.
The train leaves before noon.
She meditates before breakfast.
She meditates before breakfast.
The sun rises before 6.
The sun rises before 6.
She eats breakfast before work.
She eats breakfast before work.
He washes his hands before meals.
He washes his hands before meals.
We rest before the game.
We rest before the game.
I read a book before going to bed.
I read a book before going to bed.
She drinks water before exercise.
She drinks water before exercise.
I call mom before dinner.
I call mom before dinner.
She goes home after work.
She goes home after work.
He eats dinner after sunset.
He eats dinner after sunset.
They relax after the game.
They relax after the game.
She showers after running.
She showers after running.
He sleeps after lunch.
He sleeps after lunch.
They travel after the holidays.
They travel after the holidays.
She reads after dinner.
She reads after dinner.
He calls after the meeting.
He calls after the meeting.
They celebrate after the victory.
They celebrate after the victory.
This gift is for you.
This gift is for you.
She waits for the bus.
She waits for the bus.
He works for a company.
He works for a company.
They cook for their friends.
They cook for their friends.
She sings for the audience.
She sings for the audience.
They leave for Paris today.
They leave for Paris today.
She learns for the exam.
She learns for the exam.
He saves money for a car.
He saves money for a car.
She comes from Spain.
She comes from Spain.
He receives a letter from her.
He receives a letter from her.
The gift is from my brother.
The gift is from my brother.
She borrows a book from the library.
She borrows a book from the library.
He hears news from the radio.
He hears news from the radio.
They buy goods from the market.
They buy goods from the market.
She learns from the teacher.
She learns from the teacher.
He is tired from work.
He is tired from work.
They are different from us.
They are different from us.
She goes to school.
She goes to school.
He walks to the park.
He walks to the park.
They travel to Germany.
They travel to Germany.
She writes a letter to her friend.
She writes a letter to her friend.
They listen to music.
They listen to music.
She talks to the manager.
She talks to the manager.
He sends an email to the team.
He sends an email to the team.
She returns to the office.
She returns to the office.
She adds sugar to the coffee.
She adds sugar to the coffee.
He stands behind the door.
He stands behind the door.
The sun sits behind the mountains.
The sun sets behind the mountains.
The garden is behind the house.
The garden is behind the house.
The car is parked behind the building.
The car is parked behind the building.
The dog runs behind the car.
The dog runs behind the car.
She hides behind the tree.
She hides behind the tree.
The ball is between the shoes.
The ball is between the shoes.
She sits between her friends.
She sits between her friends.
He stands between the trees.
He stands between the trees.
There is a fence between the houses.
There is a fence between the houses.
The dog runs between the legs.
The dog runs between the legs.
The river flows between the fields.
The river flows between the fields.
The plane flies over the city.
The plane flies over the city.
She puts a blanket over the baby.
She puts a blanket over the baby.
The bridge is over the river.
The bridge is over the river.
Birds fly over the trees.
Birds fly over the trees.
He jumps over the fence.
He jumps over the fence.
Clouds are over the mountains.
Clouds are over the mountains.
She wears a coat over her dress.
She wears a coat over her dress.
The lamp hangs over the table.
The lamp hangs over the table.
Rain falls over the land.
Rain falls over the land.
He holds an umbrella over her.
He holds an umbrella over her.
The cat is under the table.
The cat is under the table.
The dog sleeps under the tree.
The dog sleeps under the tree.
He looks under the car.
He looks under the car.
She sits under the umbrella.
She sits under the umbrella.
They stand under the bridge.
They stand under the bridge.
Thank you so much for watching this video, and for more exciting lessons, please hit the subscribe button and see you guys in the next lesson.